Smart security alarm systems enhance your well-being by adding a layer of protection to your physical property. Today, we'll explore and solve a common problem with home security systems, namely sensors losing connections to the base station. Hello everyone, this is Rick with Cybernetics. Today we'll show you how to create a reliable connection between your security monitoring devices and the main base station for the Ring alarm system. We'll set up a range extender and motion sensor to the Ring alarm application. This video is broken up into 4 main parts. All parts are time-coded so you can skip around as desired. First, we'll present a brief explainer comparing ZWave to Wi-Fi as it relates to the Ring alarm system. Next, we'll demonstrate a scenario using ZWave and the range extender with motion sensor. Part 3 details the failure and replacement of Gen 1 range extender. And finally, we demo and set up and activate a Gen 2 range extender with motion sensor. Now we'll cover ZWave and Wi-Fi as it relates to the Ring alarm system. ZWave networks use something called a mesh network. Simply, that means the information can hop between nodes before arriving at the central hub for processing. Wi-Fi networks use something called a hub and spoke network. This simply means that each of the devices on the network are connecting directly to the central hub for processing. The reason that's important is because the ZWave uses a low frequency signal and low power. The low power is important because of battery operated devices. You want them to last as long as possible. And the low frequency is important because it allows the signal to permeate through obstructions easily to get to the base station. The higher the frequency, the more dampening or attenuation of the signals occurs. With the Wi-Fi network, much higher frequencies in the 2.4 to 5 gigahertz range, higher data rates, and much higher transmit power. Now we'll give a simple example of how this works practically. Let's say you had a contact sensor on a patio door in a second-story floor, and you wanted to communicate to your base station on the ground floor. This signal might have trouble reaching all the way to the base station. So a mesh network, if you have units plugged into electrical power, they can potentially be used as hopping points for the signal. So that would mean that instead of going directly to the hub, it would hop between these nodes to get to the base station. We'll contrast that to Wi-Fi, where each of the devices individually communicates directly with the router. Sometimes there's a little confusion with the Ring alarm system because the cameras use Wi-Fi. They don't use the ZWave communication protocol, and they connect directly to the router because of high transmit power and high data throughput required. Now we'll walk through a practical example of using the motion sensor with the ZWave communication protocol. We initially installed one of these in the garage. That motion sensor was communicating directly with the base station in the house. It's not a large house, but the signal had to go through approximately 3 different walls. And what was happening is constant false alarms from the base station linked back to the motion sensor. So what we did was install a range extender. And now this battery-operated device that's transmitting a weaker signal is being picked up by the range extender. Because the range extender is plugged into AC power, it's transmitting a much stronger signal back to the base station, and the false alarms disappeared. A simple example of that is demonstrated here, where we have the motion sensor. It picks up motion, it transmits that to the range extender then transmits it to the base station. That setup was working fine until the Gen 1 range extender battery failed, and that battery is critical because during power outages, it would no longer work, extending the range of critical security devices. So I did a search, Google Shopping, couldn't find anything. Went to eBay, searched, still couldn't find anything. Then I typed in the model number of the battery itself, and I started getting some hits. One with AliExpress, also searched again on eBay, but the bottom line is I wound up buying one on Amazon, the Gen 2 range extender to replace the Gen 1. Now, at the end of the video, there's a couple outtakes of support conversations, one with a Ring technician on the phone and one with Ring support personnel through chat. I think you'll find both of those interesting. I did not put them in the main video. They're at the very end. If anyone finds a battery replacement, I would appreciate posting a comment to let others know. They're not easy to come by. Now we'll set up the Gen 2 range extender with motion sensor. Pictured here is the Gen 1 that has the failed battery. Here is the Gen 2, and this is the motion sensor. We'll come into the Ring app on the phone, click Add a Device. Because the range extender communicates with the base station, it will be underneath the base station. Here is range extenders, select range extenders, and it has Gen 1 and Gen 2, and we're going to select Gen 2. Tap the scan QR code button below. Use this code. Now plug it in. Adding the range extender first and then the motion sensor is critical, because what that's going to force it to do is once you add the range extender and then you add the motion sensor, it will connect to the range extender if it's closer to that than it is the base station. Go to the base station. Now we can see that the range extender is online. There you go. Firmware is up to date. Next, we'll add the motion sensor. Select motion sensor, first generation motion sensor. Ready. Scan the QR code. Not sure what it's telling me here. I'm not sure if it's set up properly or not. Let's see if it did. Ring motion sensor waiting to connect to a network. I wound up calling Ring support to figure out why this motion sensor would not connect to the network, and they walked me through a troubleshooting procedure, and I'll go through that here. Under alarm devices, go to the base station, go to settings for the base station, and here is an advanced option tab. Select that. Go to ZWave. The device has to be added to the network first. Then you can click remove. And once I clicked remove the ZWave device, they had me take the battery out of the unit and then put the battery back in the unit and immediately press the little black button on the top. And when I did that, it reset the device and it connected to the network and everything was fine. That's a wrap on how to eliminate false alarms on your Ring alarm system. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. Hope you will hit the like button and consider subscribing. That supports our efforts in helping others with technology, and have a great and wonderful automation day. And I gave up. I'm going to call Ring support, see if I can get some help. That was the scenario that we had the device added and it was not working. And because it was not working, you went in and you removed it. And then that kind of like what reinitializes the device so it can connect to the hub. Okay, well, that's fantastic. Well, thank you for your help. I do appreciate it. Well, I learned something.